In the quiet town of Brooksville, a young waitress named Lily spends her mornings serving coffee in a small cafe where routine never changes, until a lonely old man named Mr. Turner begins coming in every day. He's quiet, gentle, and carries the kind of sadness that only time can carve. While others overlook him, Lily chooses kindness, refilling his cup, sharing small conversations, and offering warmth without expecting anything in return. Their friendship grows quietly, becoming a light in both their lives. But when Mr. Turner suddenly stops showing up, Lily discovers he's been hospitalized after a fall. She visits him daily, bringing smiles, coffee, and comfort. A week later, he returns to the cafe, thanking her with a simple line that would stay with her forever: "You remind me of my daughter." Morning crept slowly over the sleepy town of Brooksville, where every day looked much like the one before. On the corner of Maple Avenue stood a weathered cafe, its windows fogged with the comforting aroma of coffee and toasted bread. Outside, a light drizzle pattered on the pavement, while inside, the soft hiss of frying bacon mixed with the low hum of conversation from locals who knew each other by name. Behind the counter moved Lily, young, cheerful, and quick on her feet. Her brown hair was tied neatly into a ponytail, and though her uniform had lost its color and her shoes were nearly worn through, her kindness made her shine brighter than anyone else in the room. But before we dive into what happens next, I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from today? Drop your country in the comment below and please like the video. Thank you. Now let's continue. At exactly 8:15 every morning, the cafe's door swung open with a familiar ring. In stepped an elderly gentleman named Mr. Turner, always dressed in his old navy coat and the same faded hat. He carried the quiet dignity of someone who had lived through many stories but told none. Without fail, he took the corner seat by the window and ordered the same breakfast: plain coffee, buttered toast, and soft eggs. Unlike most customers, Mr. Turner rarely spoke. His hands trembled slightly as he lifted his cup, and sometimes his gaze lingered on the rain outside, his thoughts drifting to places only he could see. Lily had noticed him from her very first day. Something about his quiet sadness pulled at her heart. The other servers treated him like just another customer, but she couldn't. She lingered a little longer at his table, asked how he was feeling, made sure his coffee was always hot, and once, she even brought him a slice of pie without charging a dime. What began as a small gesture soon became their morning ritual. Every day before he even asked, she had his cup ready and waiting, not out of habit, but from genuine care. As the days passed, Lily began to learn more about Mr. Turner. He wasn't just another quiet old man, he had once been a schoolteacher, known for his patience and calm voice. Years ago, he'd lost his wife, and since then, he had lived alone in a small cottage on the edge of town. His children had moved far away, building their own lives, and though he never spoke of them, Lily could feel the loneliness that lingered behind his gentle smile. Sometimes he brought along a worn-out newspaper, pretending to read while really just watching people pass by. Other times he'd sit quietly, his gaze lost in thought, as though reliving the moments of a life long gone. For Lily, his presence became something steady, a small light in her exhausting days. Her own life was no easier. Her mother's health was failing, and the medical bills never seemed to stop coming. Lily juggled extra shifts, night classes, and long hours, often skipping meals so her mother could have enough. Many nights, she cried silently in her tiny apartment, wondering if she had the strength to keep going. But every morning, no matter how worn out she felt, she still welcomed Mr. Turner with a smile. Helping him, even in simple ways, reminded her that goodness still mattered, that kindness hadn't disappeared from the world. Then came a freezing winter morning when the first snow blanketed the streets. The cafe opened as usual, but Mr. Turner's seat by the window stayed empty. Lily felt it instantly, that quiet ache of worry in her chest. The next day came and went, but still no sign of him. She asked around, but no one seemed to know where he was. By the third day, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She called the small-town clinic, her hands trembling slightly as she waited for an answer. When the nurse on the line told her that Mr. Turner had been brought in after slipping and falling at home, Lily's heart dropped. Without thinking, she grabbed her coat and hurried there during her break. When she stepped into his hospital room, He looked weaker, smaller somehow, but his eyes brightened the moment he saw her. He hadn't expected anyone. She sat beside his bed, offered him a blueberry muffin from the cafe, and promised to visit again. True to her word, she came every day that week. Between shifts, she'd stop by with small gifts, a cup of coffee, a single flower, or just a few kind words to lift his spirits. Before long, the nurses began to whisper about her. The young waitress with tired eyes and a golden heart who never forgot to show up. A week later, Mr. Turner finally returned to the cafe. His steps were slower now, his hands a little unsteady, but there was a calm light in his eyes that hadn't been there before. When Lily spotted him, her face broke into a smile. She hurried over, helped him to his usual seat by the window, and carefully took his coat. She served his breakfast with extra attention, making sure everything was just right. He didn't speak much that morning, but as he prepared to leave, he paused, studying her with quiet affection. Then he said softly, "You remind me so much of my daughter." Lily smiled, not realizing how deeply those words would stay with her. Time drifted by, and life settled back into its gentle rhythm. Morning after morning, Mr. Turner returned to his corner booth, and Lily was always there with his steaming coffee and kind smile. Then, months later, something unexpected happened. It was a crisp morning, just after 8, and Lily was refilling the sugar jars when the cafe door swung open. She looked up, expecting to see Mr. Turner. But instead, several men in black suits stepped inside. Their serious faces and polished shoes made the quiet cafe fall into complete silence. Behind them came 2 lawyers, carrying thick folders. They scanned the room before walking straight toward Lily. "Are you Lily?" one of them asked. Her pulse quickened. "Yes. Is something wrong?" The taller lawyer gave a polite nod. "We represent Mr. Turner." Before she could speak, one of the men extended a sealed envelope toward her. The lawyer continued, his tone gentle now. "Mr. Turner passed away last week. He spoke of you often. He asked us to deliver this personally." Lily's breath hitched. The clatter of dishes, the sound of rain outside, everything seemed to disappear. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "He's gone." The lawyer nodded slowly. "He left something for you." With shaking hands, Lily opened the envelope. Inside was a folded letter and a document neatly tucked behind it. The handwriting was shaky but familiar. The letter was short, yet it carried the weight of a lifetime. In it, Mr. Turner thanked her for her kindness, for the warmth she brought into his lonely mornings, and for reminding him that there were still good hearts in a world that often forgets how to care. In his letter, Mr. Turner wrote that during his final years, Lily's simple gestures of kindness had meant far more than she could ever know. But what came next left her completely speechless. The document enclosed revealed that Mr. Turner had left her his small cottage on the outskirts of town, the same one he had once mentioned in passing. Along with it, he had set aside enough money to pay off her mother's medical expenses and give her a chance to finally rest from the constant struggle. The lawyer, seeing her trembling hands, spoke softly. "Mr. Turner had no family willing to claim his estate. He told us you were the only person who ever made him feel like he still had one." Lily's eyes filled with tears. She stood there in stunned silence as the cafe grew quiet around her. The regulars who had watched the scene unfold lowered their heads, their hearts touched. The man who had sat by the window every morning so quiet, so alone had left behind not just his home, but a message of gratitude for the one person who had shown him genuine care. That evening, Lily made her way to his cottage. It was small but cozy, the air filled with the faint scent of old books and memories long kept alive. Family photographs lined the shelves, their colors faded but full of life. On his desk, she found something that made her stop, a framed photo of the 2 of them, laughing together over a spilled cup of coffee. She hadn't even known he'd kept it. As the golden light of sunset streamed through the window, Lily stood there in quiet reflection. She realized that kindness doesn't always return in the way we expect, but it always finds its way back. She whispered a soft, "Thank you," promising to honor his memory by continuing to do what she did best, spreading kindness in small, genuine ways. And as the last bit of sunlight faded from Mr. Turner's cottage, Lily smiled softly. In caring for a lonely old man, she had discovered the greatest gift of all, the truth that love, in its purest form, is the most beautiful legacy anyone can leave behind. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to subscribe. Your support helps us share more stories that inspire kindness and hope. Join us and let's keep spreading goodness together.